Welcome to Drinks Coach. This is a strange one because I'm sort of selling something, but I want you to know that no money has changed hands. I'm not doing this as a promotion. I just think this is a brilliant present, and we're coming up to Christmas time, running out of time to order drinks, and I'm going to do a couple of shows in the next few days so you can actually take advantage of the wines that I've tasted, which will work very, very well on Christmas. First present is this. It's a box. Yes, it's a box. It's called The Joy of Wine Experience. The Joy of Wine Experience is a box curated by the Wine Society. Oh yeah, the Wine Society. I have this preach every year. This is my pulpit rant about if you're not a member of the Wine Society, you can't be taking your wine very seriously. It's a non-profit wine club. That only costs £40 to become a permanent member of. You get £20 back straight away in credit on your first order. The wines are sold effectively at the price they were bought for, zero margin, only enough to operate the business. And you can get all sorts of extraordinary deals. If you think it's just for the well-heeled and the posh, because they certainly cover that end of things too, there's like 300 wines under a tenner. I mean, 300. That's more than Lidl, okay? So you really ought to look at it, even if you're just looking at wines for inexpensive parties. Maybe your daughter's 18th, you want to buy some inexpensive sparkling wine, then I'd still go to the Wine Society. And I know this is probably the chagrin of every retailer out there and all the companies that I've worked for over the years. But the Wine Society is not a company I've worked for, but it's a company that gives me endless joy. Every Christmas, my mother-in-law and I hatch a plot to put together a case of fascinating wines for my father-in-law, who loves them and drinks them throughout the year. So this box comes with this little envelope. This is the Joy of Experience home tasting kit. Now, what I want to explain to you is how versatile a box this is. It's £96, okay? It's £96, but you get 10 bottles of wine, okay? So let's just say that it's just wine. It's £9.60 a bottle. And every bottle of wine in that box is worth at least £9.60 a bottle. There's no overheads at all. I mean, there are some wines that are worth considerably more than that. I mean, I'll just grab one at random. Oh, yeah, look here. The Society's Chablis, okay? This is the Society Chablis, made by none other than Jean-Marc Brocard, one of the most world-renowned producers of Chablis. If you go into a supermarket and buy a bottle of Village Chablis now, it's going to cost you about $15.99. You get it for $9.60, and it's a box of almost all of the kind of classic styles of wine you can imagine. So think about the consequences of that. If you're actually learning about wine and you're doing your diploma exam, your level, we call level 4 now, the Wine and Spirit Education Trust, or even if you're doing your Master of Wine, you get a box. You get your wife to blindly pour you these wines and you have to guess what they are, because I can tell you, as sure as shit, that these wines are going to taste like they should. If you buy a bottle of Australian Shiraz, it's going to taste like Australian Shiraz. This comes from Langhorne Creek, from Bleasdale, another phenomenal producer. And if you can't detect that as a South Australian Shiraz, then maybe you need to go back and do a bit more training. So on a top line level, it's actually a useful educational tool. But right at the beginning, if you want an introduction to the joy of wine, introduction to all the different styles of wine, and there's sweet wines in there, there's fortifiers, there's sparklings, we've got Prosecco, we've got Cava, so you can tell the difference. Then you get this little pack, and in the pack comes a wonderful load of different things. You've got like tasting mats to put your glasses out on, like you're out in a proper wine tasting tutorial. There are tasting sheets for writing down what you think about each of the wines. And critically, and this is the amazing value of this, critically, you hit a QR code on each of these pages, and it gives you a video tutorial of the wines using some of the wonderfully charming experts they have at the Wine Society in Stevenage. So I really don't know what to say other than if you know somebody who wants to learn a bit about wine, you don't have time necessarily to buy them a course, or they are the kind of person that works strange hours so they can't go to a course and commit to certain nights a week. I can't think of a better way to spend £100 for that person as a wonderful Christmas gift than to buy the Joy Experience Home Tasting Kit from the Wine Society. Of course, you have to pay 40 quid to become a member, but at £14 a bottle, it's still cheaper than any possible course you could possibly send anyone. I know how much I charge just to talk to a group of 5 or 6 people, and it's a lot more than £140. Okay, so this is the bargain. So let's just try a couple of the wines. I'm just going to pick a couple of wines at random and see what comes up. Okay, 2018, a wonderfully warm vintage. This is the Society's Tsar Riesling. If you're looking at the cool climate areas in the north, kind of the hinterland behind Luxembourg, so the northwest of the wine-producing regions of Germany, you've got 3 tributaries, which is the Mosel, the Saar, and the Ruhr River. And this is from the Saar. Famously, some very, very expensive producers are there. You have Egon Müller, probably the finest producer of wine in the whole of Germany. You have Schloss Saarstein. And you have these guys, Reiswein von Kesselstadt, which is one of the absolute kind of nobility of making fine, racy, beautiful Riesling. So this is 11.5% alcohol, 2018 vintage, which was, as I said, a very, very warm year. So I'm assuming this wine's going to be in the typical style of a German Riesling of old. So there'll be some residual sugar in here, but it won't taste sweet. It'll be like biting into a crisp Cox's apple. It should be almost isotonic. But in a vintage like 2018, where the sun was so ripe, so warm, you'll end up with a wine which is probably more what we call Halbtrocken, or what the Austrians refer to as Feinherbst. So let's have a little taste. It's typical, like dark blue, green bottle. It's kind of bluish green. It's lovely. I mean, I think that's the very definition of bottle green, actually. Now, selected and shipped by the Wine Society Estates. Just when you smell it, all I can smell is the smell of fresh Cox's apple juice pouring down wet slate. Does that sound too jilly for you? Don't care. It smells like something that I want to put in my mouth. I'm starting to drool already. And it's on the hillsides of Saar, which are full of incredible schist and slate, very black soils. I'm filming this quite early, and I have no qualms about drinking German Riesling at this time of the morning. Very, very nice. Well, look, what would I pay for a bottle of wine like that? $16.99, maybe. I didn't know, did I? I paid $9.60. Let's try another one. Let's try a red. Let's see, that's got a red top. How about one with a screw cap on it? No, it hasn't got a screw cap. Okay. Society's Pinot Noir, Vin de France. This is from Les Vins au Jus. Not somebody I'm familiar with, but I'm sure they're very, very good. 2020 Pinot Noir from... It's quite a lot of flare today. It's very, very sunny outside. But that's the Wine Society's Pinot Noir, which I imagine is probably a sort of £9 wine or a £10 wine already. Pinot Noir isn't the cheapest grape variety to get hold of. Beautiful colour. Smells of cherries, like Bing cherry, like that kind of Marasca, kind of Italians. Bing cherries are darker cherries, aren't they? But of sour, bright cherry smell. And there's a very floral note. Rose hip. Almost rose, actually. I'm granted. It's not going to be the head of Mensa at £10. It's not going to be the most complicated wine in the world, but it's got the right amount of weight. It's 12.5% alcohol. It's not big and blousy and sweet, nor is it skinny. The finish goes on and on. There's clearly no oak at this price, but you've got a lovely, toothsome, drying tannin on the finish. It's bright. It doesn't taste like it's been thermo-vinified or sort of industrially produced in any way. Somebody's taken care over this. And the fact it says Vin de France means it probably had to come from somewhere where Pinot Noir isn't supposed to be grown. Either way, I've just opened 2 out of a box of 10 wines, and I feel sated that I might have spent £25 or £30 on those 2 bottles of wines, and I've been very, very happy. So, just to reiterate, the Joy of Tasting Experience box from the Wine Society, £96. See you next time.